Hopefully we should work. Please. Jeez. Echo, you don't have any mana. Why are you going back in? I know you want to trade. Just back, buy your stuff, heal, come back in, see what happens. As we see Olaf running back in, he's going to throw an axe. Hook's coming out from the top lane. Man, those... I'm hungry. I skipped dinner for this, too. Olaf's freaking throwing meat cleavers. Meat cleavers. And I want a pork chop now. Ursus' ult getting some damage down onto the Nautilus up here. As we're going to take out some more damage. And, I don't know, she may get first tower. Echo may get first tower. We'll figure out who gets the first tower here momentarily. As now Kill Lowy is back in top lane, hopefully to kill Lowy. And instead he runs away because he's blind. He doesn't know where he's going. Olaf's going to try and maybe do a counter gank. As the bot lane we see lots of pressure going on. Let's tab up to, there's Lee Sin going in. Lowy's going to push in, it gets kicked in, stunned. There's the ult, but I don't know if she's going to be able to tank her way through this and get the heal. She is not, but Olaf's going to be able to pick up one. Teleport from Echo is actually going to help pick up the second and the first tower. So great job by that. And actually, Echo is able to ult back to mid lane there, so he didn't miss on anything whatsoever out on CS. He picked up a kill, showed back up the mid lane, kept the pressure there. Great job in that tower dive. I know Lowy did go down for it, but first brick and couple of kills looking pretty good on the side of Repot Maokai. So we just look at the AD carries here, just getting some farm with the directed camera. As I'm just trying to double check to make sure the visuals are tweaking out. Ash Arrow's going to field goal it and goes right in between them. Not the best luck with the Ash Arrows. There's the Zyra ult to counteract the engage as the teleport's actually going to come down from Nautilus. Great kick by the Lee Sin there to get in on the Sivir, but with that teleport being down by the Nautilus, the two laners were able to take the mid lane tower on the side of Repot, and they're not going to be able to get any real damage done because Karma and Olaf are here. They're going to prevent... Who's over there? There we go. It looks like Hurtus is just going to tank this up pretty much by herself here. No real pressure on her. She's going to be able to get the Rift Scuttle, and let's see what they do with the Scuttle Crab themselves for their team, since they're the ones that had used against them in Game 1. So a little bit more farming. Now, Lee Sin has picked up almost all the kills. Ashe was able to collect one, but they are now down 2 towers and the Rift Herald. But Nautilus is doing much worse in this matchup than he did in the Darius, as it looks like Ninja's going to have to ult out of that, is able to escape with the ult. Not enough damage going down onto him to real keep up. It is still slightly choppy, it looks like, but not the worst absolute lag that everyone was getting in the beginning of this match here. So Lowy with the ult, pressure Nautilus off the tower as Ashe is down here, and Karma flashes out as Sivir takes all of the Ashe arrow to the face. Wasn't ready, I think, for that arrow to be popped. Not sure if she didn't have the spell shield prop. Not the great communication is ADC Kai is going to try and pressure in with the a lot of CS that she can get coming out from her side. She is extremely low here. I'm not sure, as it looks like Rocks is going to maybe tower dive with the ignite and the snare. Lands one more. A kick Karma right through the AD carry there to finish him off. And miss kick there. Karma's going to try and stick alive along us. Zyra burns the ult. Not sure if that was necessary to keep Karma in lane there, to keep you know, to make sure Lee Sin picked up that kill. He's now 6-1-1. He's down, you know, 40 CS to the Olaf, who is 1-0-2 himself. But it's the tower pressure that's really going in favor of Repot here, allowing them to, you know, get a nice gold lead along, you know, because they're even in kills. Let's see where. Should be blue buff going to go over to Echo, who has finished the proto belt. We'll see what he should probably go for. His next item coming up here in just a moment is Olaf is going to get snared, rooted by some Zyra plants, but he's going to stay alive. Now, with this much time left on the map and Sivir gone to top lane, Hertis still has a few minutes or two. Looks like maybe a minute at the max left on this item to use to summon the Rift Herald. As she's going to back off. It looks like she's going to summon it in the bush, and as a result of Ashe being very low and Zyra not going to want to stick around by herself, they're going to be able to take down this tower, and it's going to actually not do anything. Just the, you know, recoil damage dealt to the Scuttle Crab there as they take down yet another tower. We'll see if they stick around to protect it, or if they're just going to bail off entirely and go up to the Dragon to protect the tail. Just takes about a quarter of its health, and just one good whack from the tower is going to be all that she's going to be able to do to it. That does mean Olaf and Karma get some free time in on this Dragon, and Echo's getting a nice push in here in mid lane, as Nautilus may be trying to do a wraparound gank, but is able to dash through the hook, get the stun off, and just keep on moving. And return here Karma with the snare, and roots coming out from Zyra, and there goes Olaf. He's going to go through. He's trying to finish off the Olaf. Not going to be enough. Echo, another jumps right in. Does get ulted by Nautilus, but cancels that ult with his own. Hertis is showing up here to land some nice tentacle grabs and hooks. Oh, Shockwave comes out, does land on the Echo and the Asher on top of that. Sivir is, Zyra actually picks up with that kill with one of her plantlings. But Repots, they're still looking to crush in onto this tower, even with Ashe and Zyra pretty, you know, okay doing it healthier. They may want to peel off, but there's another Karma Mantra Q, as Nautilus never actually backed during any of that. Too afraid that if he did, it would be better for him. And Hertis is going to get hooked. And with the kickback by Lee Sin, that's going to be a dead Tentacle Lady. As Karma now gets too far and does get the snare, but Lee Sin absolutely crushing with this, you know, up 6-1-3. There's a kill now onto Karma, making Echo burn the teleport to come back to mid lane just to clear out the wave here, as Toon World's going to, you know, roll on back to base, picking up some return kills, but they've definitely lost their, you know, any advantage they had with tower. Well, they never had an advantage with towers. They've lost a lot of map control in the tower range. And while Lee Sin has been extremely powerful in picking up kills, his laners have not been impactful enough in keeping their towers alive. And as George has pointed out a few times here tonight, you know, Repot, they really want to fight. They really want to get in there and just go in and just out mechanics and out duel the other team. And that's what they've been doing in pretty much every chance they get. As we see, we are just about the 20-minute mark. They've reached a, you know, substantial 4 to 5K gold lead here, and their vision is slowly being pushed back now. But they have control of the waves. Nautilus is going to push up a little bit in top lane, but I don't know, he can't go any further than that, and they can just send Echo, and this is going to be a nice 1-3-1 split that they're going to be putting on here with the dual teleports. Even though Echo, his teleport's currently down, he's got enough mobility, he's going to be able to join the fight if there is ever one, especially in mid lane. Well, Olaf is just going to straight, you know, facing, and here comes Sivir, and they're going to run engage through this. Does not actually get pop, as there is the pop, and there's one more ult. Echo with the, you know, ult burners out as flashes are coming out. Not a really good engage coming out for Repot here. Olaf popped his ult like a second too late. He was already knocked up by the Zyra ult, and Ninja maybe looking for some return damage as they try to pressure them off the back. All of this, though, has allowed time for Alawi down at bot lane to get some more farm and some more pressure there, as her teammates are looking to maybe keep the pressure going on in mid. They do have some decent AoE wave clear with the Echo Q, and, well, Siver's, you know, a wave clear bot in and of herself.
Well, now looks like a good time to come back. Sorry for making you do that.
Don't worry about it, George. Apparently my stream absolutely took a potty break about 6 times, and it's terrible.
Right.
You didn't miss very much, other than Repot going around the horn and taking all of the outer towers and dragon, while dying a bunch. By a bunch.
Right.
Lee Sin has been really doing a great job at, you know, securing kills and getting a lot of ganks off, but the ganks haven't, you know, adapted to any map objectives.
All right. That's really good, because Lee Sin, one of the main reasons you pick him is for the early plays. If you're going to wait until level 7 to do anything, I'm not going to say there are better champions to do it as, but you're sacrificing a lot in his case.
Sorry, I'm just trying to keep tabs on a couple of the settings, trying to see why in the world my... You know, George, I casted and streamed a whole bunch of Vantage this season from all the divisions. Mm-hmm. 0 problems. Playoffs occur, it goes to complete shit.
I'll say I gave up trying to stream League like 4 or so months ago, because every time I would set it up and it would be right, and then 2 days later it would all just fall apart for no apparent reason.
Yeah, so I mean, it's whatever. Let's let's get back into this. We got more matches going on as this goes in. We're kind of in a stalemate point here at this time, so we're just kind of talking about bullshit. The advantages that Repot have gained by having really good objective control, including getting the Rift Herald and using it to take down one tower and then letting it die in bot lane so they could take the first dragon, means that they are now in a good position with their 1-3-1 setup, as I was touching base on earlier, with the Echo and the Alawi in the solo lanes. Well, she died there because I don't know if there's bad communication, or team didn't want to collapse, or if they were more worried about dragon. Not sure what the call was there.
Well, one thing to point out there is that even though her ult animation started, it did not actually go off, so she still has that cooldown if she wants to teleport back in for a skirmish when she revives.
It doesn't look like they've really used any ults other than the Zyra ult to take her down, so they may want to fight over this dragon. This is, you know, the first, you know, objective they may be able to get this game, because they haven't had a chance to even sniff the towers, really.
Well, that is a second mountain, which is going to make taking those towers and Baron in the future a lot easier.
Well, it only helps if you can get to them. And so far, they haven't had really a chance to get to the towers, as I was kind of saying. Now, as we kind of touch base a little bit on pick bans, I think they have a little bit better scaling. They actually have a kind of a true tank in the Nautilus with some good peel. They have good displacement with Lee Sin, Orianna. But we're going to hit that mid-game part here where the Olaf's going to be at 2 items, the Echo's going to be 2 to 3 items, Alawi's going to be that 2 to 3 items, and Siver's just going to hit the go button, and they're just going to run them over if they don't get another pick like they did on the Alawi.
And we're in that fuzzy spot right now where Olaf is still squishy enough to burst down. Getting into that 3-item mark, he's going to be too tanky to take out before he gets to your carries.
And that's going to be the Achilles heel to this comp of taking someone that's not as mobile like on the Ashe or the Orianna, because you have to play around your ball so much. And they don't really seem to have a good way to preventing this 1-3-1 comp.
Yeah. And you mentioned it during Pick and Ban that this is a group. This is a team that wants to group as 5, and they're just not getting the chance.
Yeah, the early action condensed their map, and which is allowing them to rotate quicker between the tier 2s, but it's not allowing them to necessarily push out and take objectives. They're just kind of collecting farm here, and at some point, do you think that's just it's going to hinder them enough that like they're going to lose the tier 2 mid here, that they're just going to give up too much and be suffocated out?
Well, there's a fight going on.
Well, looks so their ult's burned by multiples of people here as we see everything going on. Echo trying to dash in onto the back line. Protobelt's out, but just dies on the way. And Alawi flashes the wall, does get in onto the Ashe, hooks no one though, as Karma's going to take 1 kill with the Comanche Q. Orianna Shockwave was held through that entire thing. Was just laid for some damage as they exit here. Not enough to pick up any kills. So only the, I guess, Nautilus did go down as well as the Echo. But there's, you know, we got Gundam stealing Wraiths. Alawi's looking at try and steal, you know, buffs. They've cleared out some vision.
Yeah.
Kind of a rough go here at the moment.
Yeah. Back to your previous question.
Yes.
When you ask if what they're losing out, they're not necessarily losing out on towers as much. What they're really losing out is the safety of the rotations. Because like right now, they can't walk. They can barely walk into their jungle without fearing for their lives.
No, they did have okay vision going on pre that fight, but it looks like a lot of it is either timed out or been cleared out as both teams returned the base and picked up items. In game 1, Repot had a commanding 10k gold lead at 30 minutes. We're at 28 minutes, and they're at 8k right now, so they're really close to the same spot they were last game. Kind of compare and contrast to how the two line up.
Yeah, one thing I want to point out is that Maokai right now has a perfect tower game. Yes. And they've taken 5 towers?
5 to 0.
So that is, without including first tower gold, which is somewhere in the realm of 1,500 by itself, 1,600, 1,800? I can't do math.
Okay.
So...
Yes. 300. 1,500 plus extra first brick.
Yeah, so if... that is a double-edged sword, because right now they have a really high advantage. But if Toon can start taking some of the towers back, that's a large reservoir of gold that they have access to that hasn't been used. The issue is getting there.
And it looks like Echo and Olaf dove too far in to get onto the Orianna, and she was able to survive just long enough for all of her allies to run over to, peel them off and kill them for her. But as a result, they now have control of Baron, but Sivir has control of mid lane tier, the inhibitor tower. Alawi has the same pressure on this bottom lane, and Flash is coming out down in mid lane here. And it looks like with, are they going to be trading Baron for 2 inhibitors? I don't know if, it's a risky decision here.
Well, it's one of those things where taking the Baron there for 2 inhibs is a terrible trade. That's pretty narrow. The thing is, they were already in that position, so they decided to make of it what they can. Like, it's a bad idea to be in that situation in the first place, but once you're there, you just have to go ahead and take the Baron, because those inhibs are going down either way.
Looks like Nautilus is going to try and get in on this Karma, who's kind of been poking their way out. As we see the next dragon has spawned, it's another air drake. So lots of air drakes in the matches so far. 3 air drakes in the first game, and two of the first 3 dragons in this match are going to be air drakes as well. not. I think the way their team styles favor, and once I think the Air Drakes have been more impactful for Repot, and just these matches so far. Now they're just finally getting evened out on the side now for Toon.
Absolutely. The other thing I want to comment is that this is a 15-7 kill lead in favor of Toon, and they're still down 7k gold.
Yeah. I mean, the CF's discrepancy is absolutely disgusting right now, especially in the top lane matchup. Nautilus has gotten pretty tanky, but Alawi has almost 4 items and is, 170 CS, 160 CS up on her lane opponent at 30 minutes.
Basically twice the CS.
Yeah, that's extremely dirty, especially, I mean, we got Flame Horizon is 100, and this is well past that. I mean, other than that, both the 8 jungler and 80 carry are both up, 40 to 50 CS. And the team without Baron is getting pushed in 2 lanes because, they did give up those 2 inhibitors. Well,
what's really crippling...
Oh, the kick into Karma. It looks like she's going to go down as the Nautilus ult goes out. Ults come out from Ashe and Zyra, but somehow everyone is able to escape. The ults didn't land on the right people. Olaf can, ult out. Sivir's got the spell shields. She can prevent the Ashe arrow. It just... Their engage isn't strong enough, it looks like.
What's really crippling Toon right now is that Maokai, they're in a spot where they can make plays with only 1 or 2 champions, and Toon has to send their entire team to respond. And if they don't send their entire team, they just lose the fight there.
And it looks like they're just going to be crushing in as much damage as they can onto this Nautilus. Olaf had to pop his ult to just prevent a lot of that CC coming out as he throws Qs as, Curtis is just down in this bot wave, just pressuring the minion waves, collecting both of them at once, trying to make sure that this is a, a 4-1 split push right now with the help of all those supers.
And that just goes to what I'm saying. All that stuff going on top lane was happening without Curtis and without Karma.
And Echo's able to kill Ashe, and there's the ult to drop the tower aggro, and they're able to escape. Ghost comes out for Olaf. He takes the long way. He's now going to help Hurtus down here in the bot lane. And it's just, they're getting split, pressured on all sides. How much more turtling can they do here? We're at, almost 35 minutes. Can they push it to 40? Can they get it to the point where both their inhibitors are back up and they're strong enough to prevent either one of them going down again?
At this point, it's honestly too late to turtle. You can't turtle when you have 2 double hits down on the non-Baron side.
There's the Shockwave taking out Kama extremely early on, but it looks like Hurtus is going to flash in with the ult to land as much damage down as possible as we have a fight going up here. Sivir and Olaf are fighting the Lee Sin up in top lane. Echo is able to finish that one off as Hurtus is going to back off from the tank. Ashe has come back up, and there's the Ashe arrow going out. Flash hook by the Nautilus comes in. There's the Zyra ult coming out as Zyra's going to take down Echo. And another, she's going to try and live as long as possible. Not enough as Ashe and Zyra finish that off. Zyra's been picking up a lot of these kills, but they did lose. They're down the 1 tower left now. This is the 5-man all engaged. Soon as the next time they see him.
Yeah. It's, at this point, you kind of have to ask, what's your out as Toon? And the only way they possibly win this is by Maokai just doing something stupid. There's no way Maokai should lose this at this point. They have complete control of the bottom side, which gives them a free Baron, if it's set up the right way. And if they get a free Baron, then it's a free push to end the game.
Now, Baron and Dragon are going to be spawning at the same time. Is there a way to split up the champions, because all the inhibitors are back up, to protect both? Or do you want to give up the Baron and take Dragon? Or do you want to give, in this case, so you can fight them off of your last tower with the extra burn damage? I mean, what are we looking at?
So, the way I've always looked at it is the only way to prevent a team from doing something that's ideal is to present to them another option that looks tasty, but is worse than like what they should be doing. So if you send a juicy member like to somewhere they don't want to be, let's say they want to be attacking Baron right now and setting up. If you put some high priority targets in the top and mid lane and are able to protect them, then there's a good chance Maokai is going to go after them instead to take the Baron, if they're close enough. The issue is you have to keep them alive, which I don't think Toon can do.
Okay. So plan B. And there's plan B. Kicks Karma into the rest of the team. Ash Arrow lands on the Olaf, does not burn the ult. As Nautilus ult gets in onto Sivir's, Olaf's trying to protect the AD carry as the jungler, and no hard CC as the 3-1-1 comp. The ones are doing absolute damage to the inhibitors. One goes down. Good attempt at getting a pick, was successful in killing the support. They didn't lose anyone, but I think they spent all of their ults, and now Hurtus is being able to finish off the Lee Sin in bot lane with the jungler down and just focusing in. Here's Echo. There goes the AD carry. Nautilus is trying to peel, not enough. Echo's ult, massive damage coming out. Orianna's shield is keeping her alive for the moment, but Sivir and Olaf were able to take out. Now all three inhibitors are down. And with 4 members up and only missing their support, they may just push in for the win.
It's a little bit sketchy because they don't have quite enough safe wave clear. While Echo and allowing Sivir do push, it's a bit risky with how low health they are. So it looks like they're just going to back up, try and reset, possibly Baron when Toon has all 3 inhibs down. And with all 2 down, it was almost a free Baron. With 3 down, it's almost guaranteed.
Lee Sin's just now coming back up. If he ran straight there, I don't think he'd be able to, even try and steal it. There's too much preventing him from taking that down. And that Baron's going down pretty fast here, considering they don't have a mountain. And, Sivir not the strongest Baron taking AD carry. And they should probably just push in for the win here. Yeah. As Lee Sin's maybe getting a vision around Dragon if, they were going to be greedy and try and get both the Baron and Dragon for the final push. I guess that'd be, the last stand as Protobelt comes out. And there's Olaf, super running speed, and he gets to Ashe really easy. Good arrow with the Zyra ult. Not going to be able to save anyone, looks like. Nautilus actually does take down Karma, so one goes down. Sivir is going to drop to Orianna, but I think there's too many minions here as Echo is going to have to ult out and dash away as Hurtus is going to try and jump in onto the back line, and that's the end of the game. Game 2, time-wise, took just now 39 minutes. Real life time probably almost took an hour. Frustration. I do want to commend Hurtus, even though she died 5 times and only picked up kills at the very end there, was almost 200 CS up on her lane opponent, whereas Frostbite was, up 70, 80 CS on his opponent, but didn't die on Orianna, which is impressive considering how often Olaf and Echo were just diving that backline.
That scoreline that he has is completely discounting the amount of pressure she was able to put in the side lane. Just being there, even without the farm. She was able to just stand at the enemy tower and inhibitors and just be there. Bring Orianna over there. Bring the carries that could actually wave clear against her.
And not a lot of wave clear. Or it was situational, right? Nautilus can wave clear early, but when you have to second item that new stone plate, gargoyle stone plate, you're not in a good situation. It's not cost effective unless you're using the active.
If you take away anything from this game, take away the fact that kills don't mean anything if you don't get something off them. You have basically double the kills on Toon. And
didn't get a single
they
tower.
Honestly They got beat about as solidly as you possibly can. They did not manage to take a single tower. And when your goal is to get to the enemy nexus, that's basically saying you did nothing towards that goal.
Yeah. So, congratulations to Please Repop Maokai making it to the finals of the Galactic Division, and Toon Squad. I know a bunch of these players are returning members, and I really want to see a bunch of them again next split, and see if they can come back with a vengeance and have a little bit better showing. Sometimes you just have an off day, and the other team gets the better of you. So, if I'm not mistaken, this was the 1-4 matchup in the playoff seedings. So, the 1 seed has advanced to the finals, and here in a little bit we'll be looking at the 2-3 matchup. Do you want to touch anything else on these teams or these games, George, before we try and swap over to the other one?
Just going in Champ Select, it's hard to say because we don't have the exact pick order set up. But first of all, I really liked both of Toon's team comps. I don't think they were bad, but I think that Maokai's team did a much better job in finding ways in pick and ban to counteract those advantages. It's not that Toon made bad teams. It's that Maokai picked really good teams against Toon's teams.
And sometimes you just run into a buzzsaw that just doesn't mesh well against or go up well against the style that you like to run, and you run into a team that counteracts your weaknesses, and your strengths don't go into their most weakest points as well.
And that's all part of growing as a player.
Yep. And as a team. So apparently I'm being corrected by the chat. This was the 2-3 matchup. And the next matchup we're going to be getting into here is going to be the 1-4 matchup of Bear Dogs versus Band Rumble. And we're going to be kind of clicking on over to that. And we'll get that pick ban going here in just a minute. And let's hope that the VODs and videos stay positive. Okay, and we should be back here and going up here in just a second. So while I get the draft going here, George, do you want to tell us a little bit about these two teams? We got Bear Dogs and Ban Rumble.
Okay, 1 moment.
Yep. Do 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 do. Bum 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 bum.
All right, so these should be the number 1 and number 2 seeds coming, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, so Band Rumble is the current number 1 seed, and that is the team, if you know, the most pronounced members would probably be Gelati and Tuba, and Red, for those of you who've played with him before. 2 others, Mayor of Huevos is their jungler, and Rixay is their AD carry. This is a team I would compare kind of to Maokai in that they have a really strong top laner. I would say most likely a little bit more strong and carry oriented, and a really strong supportive mid laner. So kind of like the Maokai situation, where you have a really strong, flashy mid laner and a really solid top laner. This is kind of the opposite. This situation. Their bottom lane is one of the better ones in the division. Red plays, I believe, a lot of Zyra, though I know he's been branching out. So I'm not going to pigeonhole him too much. He plays a lot of stuff, and he plays a lot of stuff pretty well.
So, Bear Dogs is on the blue side here, and they've banned out Rumble, Galio, and Lulu, looking at that top lane. And where Rumble has banned out the Xerath and Ari and Janna, looking at that mid lane. And Bear Dogs are going to steal away Gelati's most notable champion.
That's kind of VM, honestly, because when you are one trick is the wrong word, but when you are that comfortable with the main champion, you usually also know how to play against that main champion really well.
Mm-hmm.
And he picks up the Orianna, we see. That's a safe pick, because Bear Dogs has already shown their mid laner, so not revealing anything too much.
You're gonna like this. The next 2 picks would have thrown me for a loop for a second, because this is after mid-season update. They take the 2 top junglers, in my opinion, in the game at the moment.
Yeah, Sedge is definitely really strong. Graves really hasn't dropped off too much. So you're definitely right about that. And that's going to leave... The only other one up I can really see is Ivern and Lee Sin. And Lee Sin and Ivern are a lot more dependent on individual comfort with that pick. So they're sometimes just as strong, but I'm not sure if free is the right word, but they're less free about it.
Mm-hmm. Now, this is actually this is the exact pick order as well for this matchup. So, Ban Rumble, they have 3 champions that are extremely good at shielding right now. So, yeah. I mean, do you just double, triple down? I mean, and go with a hyper carry AD carry? What type of top laner are you maybe looking for? Versus Bear Dogs, they just seem to be take away, one of the other person's best champion and the 2 most or the strongest junglers at the moment.
Well, you're definitely
one of those 2 champions have to go top lane too.
You're definitely going to want to save a counter pick. The thing is, at this point, you're kind of showing yourself to be a hyper carry, AD carry in the bot lane. With that many shields and sustain, it's a waste to not do that. So you already know what the sport is. You already know kind of sort of what role the AD carry is. It might be a good idea to just go ahead and get that out of the way and get your choice of hyper carry ADCs before Bear Dogs can constrain it any. They can save it, but they choose to go for the Darius top, and that makes sense because either the Graves or Sejuani has to go top, and chances are I would guess it would be the Sedge. I haven't seen too much Graves top, and I know there's been some chatter around.
Now, could you run Graves AD carry?
I was talking with Badger a while back, and it's one of those things where he thinks, and he knows ADC a lot better than I do.
The answer is no. They go Caitlyn.
Okay. Yeah.
Sorry.
It's possible, but it's probably worse than anything else you could pick instead.
And they've finished their comp with a Nami.
I really like the Nami pickup here. It's a really good source of follow-up engage after this. She also allows the kiting and stuff if it's needed. She's a really flexible pick.
So we're going to have another game where you're going to have a pseudo tank in a Juggernaut top lane and a Sejuani. Is she a diver? I don't know what.
Sejuani is right now. Yeah, she's definitely an engager. Definitely an engager.
Yeah, so
I'm not sure about diver. I'm not sure because I'm not sure if her goal is to hit the back line. I haven't played many games with her in it just because she's always banned.
Yeah.
So
yes, she is. She is always banned. I have yet to seen her be played since the new season here. So, as we just kind of just round out the talk about the team comps here, and I'll get the match pulled up.
all right. Bear Dogs is definitely looking for a more, I'm not sure if generic's the right word, but generic style of team fighting where they have a bit of a solid front line. Sejuani. Graves is sort of a pseudo front line. He's not the tankiest, but he's a lot closer than someone like Caitlyn or even Karthus. And Nami fulfills the middle engage role. Pretty standard composition there. Pretty good at a lot of different things. Rumble here has a really similar composition to what we saw in the first game. Though I'm going to say I like this composition a lot better. And the reason I say that is because of the Orianna pick in the mid lane. If you're going to go with this, you should probably double down on it as much as possible. And this does have a similar issue where Darius isn't quite the counter-engage pure tank that you could pick. But I'm more willing to overlook that when you have Orianna that has a lot stronger zone control in terms of crowd control than Ziggs does.
Okay, you got it pulled up? You ready?
Yes, I am.
Okay, in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and I'm still at 0, 1 second, 2 second, 3 second, 4, and getting into this match. So we have on the side of Bear Dogs, we have Skullhead playing Sejuani in top lane. XFX playing Graves jungle, 789, I love the name, playing Karthus in the mid lane. George is a co-caster in his podcast. Quit badgering me, playing AD carry Caitlyn, the champion he hates but plays all the time. And 295 a min. Is that supposed to be 295 a minute?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Playing Nami support. And we're going to pause on the names here as we have a deep jungle invade. They all went over a ward, and they all sat in a bush. So,
Yeah.
anything going to happen?
If they're spotted right, they shouldn't really get anything out of this aside from vision, since the word defensive ward caught them.
Yep, they're all just heading back. So they don't know where wards were placed in their jungle, but they at least saw everyone on the other team. On the side of Ban Rumble now, as the minions have been spawned, we have Tuba playing Darius in top lane, Mayor Huevos playing jungle Ivern, Gelati in mid lane Orianna, Rixie as Jinx AD carry, and Khan Rathan as Karma support.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And Ivern is extremely popular right now because he has been played in 2 of the 3 games we've done tonight, and the third one he was banned. So, real strong pick coming out of the jungle, and just kind of touch a base on like how much power you can get, because most of this season has been a lot of carries or assassins coming out of the jungle, and then you have Ivern, who is nothing but a supportive champion.
Well, it's one of those things, to talk about the invader there, I said they got nothing out of it, but it's not true. The vision was obtained. And in the Ivern matchups, like I was talking earlier, it's so important to have the early vision for both of the teams. Ivern needs to know where the other person started to appropriately counter jungle. And on the other side, you need to know where Ivern starts in the other team to be able to figure out where he's going to try and counter jungle.
And the counter jungling started pre-level 2. Ivern steals away the blue buff. Graves is going to get Gelati's flash here in the mid lane. But other than that, he's sitting on 1 CS. All he has gotten so far, and we're almost 3 minutes in the game, has been his own red buff.
Yeah, and it might work out okay in the end, but that is not where you want to be right now. It might have been okay if he'd gotten like a kill on Gelati, but 1 CS and a flash puts him so ridiculously far behind where he could be.
And getting 3 buffed early on in the game is no fun at all either. As the lanes go, I have. Do you have any information on Darius versus Sejuani in top lane?
Again, I haven't seen New Sage at all in any games, just because of how banned she is. It's going to be really weird because Sage gets those incredible defensive stats. But they only last for a brief moment when she's not in combat and going into it. If Darius can hold her in combats and force longer trade, I'm pretty sure she should be beatable. But the question is, Sedge is strong enough that being beatable in lane might not be enough. She has such a good engage potential and stick potential in the later stages of the game. Keeping her down in lane might not matter.
It looks like they are going to get the stun here, as there's the bleed is ticking in, and not enough potions as flashes come out from both the top laners. Bleed is not going to kill off the Sejuani. His teleport from Karthus, as he actually had the back because the Ivern gank in the mid lane made him burn his flash, and he was taken down to like less than 100 health. So Karthus actually was back at base. That's why he was able to teleport top at full health. It's sort of just kind of a summary of what occurred there, but it seems like everything seems to be going so far in the way of Rumble here.
Yeah, and I want to take a moment and look at Tuba in the top lane. The other reason I'm overlooking this Darius in the team comp is because it's Tuba playing Darius. And Darius might not be Tuba's best champion, I don't know, but it's the best champion that he's allowed to play. Because he gets so many focus bans, Darius has always been his kind of go-to, okay, you're not letting me play that, whatever, I will play Darius. And he has always performed.
Yeah, I think the other match that we casted of them during the season, he was on Darius in both games, actually, because he did, collect 2 bans in that one as well. So, with no deaths and just basically the CS lead being the difference in gold at the moment, other than the fact that Ivern has been doing an excellent job at counter jungling and trying to get some deep wards in, is there anything that... I mean, both these teams look like they want to farm up. I mean, other than... There's not a really super early aggressive champion other than kind of the Darius and slightly the Ivern, depending on the lane matchups. Just as I mentioned, Darius goes in for the hook on the Sejuani, who does not have flash. Ivern is here. She's going to try and get down to the wall. The Q over. Good job with the slow. Darius misses the Q, but she doesn't have enough to escape. Ooh, she does, but the bleed's probably going to blasting cone out. Flash by Ivern, not Q. There's another slow, not in range. She's doing an excellent job of escaping this here. Skullhead with an excellent escape. Another Q with the... Bravo. Bravo. I thought you were dead like 2 or 3 times, man. Very nice.
And that was an excellent escape by Skull. But one thing we have to look is that Skull is still going to have to back, and it's still going to spend a lot of time. So they're going to get a big amount of damage down on the top tower. And we have to look, what's Graves doing in the meantime?
He got Wraiths, or
Yeah,
Wolves.
He got Wolves, and I think he got Gromp too.
Yep.
That means he is catching back up a little bit. But the entire reason Ivern was able to put off the gank in the first spot was he was in Graves' blue counter jungler.
Yep, and he steals the blue on respawn because he had the timer for it. He's the one who took it in the first place. He's going to be able to just stroll on back, pick up his red. His blue will be up here in a minute to pass over to Orianna, who's been getting the better of the trades in the Orianna versus Karthus matchup. This is a matchup most likely seen back in Season 2. No, seriously, right? It was like
you're right.
Season 2 is the Karthus Orianna pretty much every freaking at Worlds, right? For the longest time.
Absolutely.
With AP Gragas. Oh man, I love it. So now Karthus is at the go with the double Dorans. It's getting delayed the Roa, which is extremely important. So Gelati's been able to maybe not keep Karthus down from CSing, but has definitely hit those points that Karthus really wants to hit, and it's prevented him from hitting them.
Well, Karthus has an issue, and it's that if you don't get those AP item power points when you need to, you're not going to have that last final bit of damage you need to secure the kills. So let's say he doesn't have this early start on the Roa. If he doesn't have Roa in time for, let's say, level 7 or 8 ults, then there's a good chance he won't actually be able to have the damage to completely finish someone off.
It looks like Skullhead's not going to be able to escape this one, as Tuba's finishing him off with the dunk, and Ivern just came, just did a lane gank, and as soon as Darius got on top of the Sejuani, there was no way to go around it. Darius is rushing now to red buff while Ivern lays some poke damage in on the tower. Graves is going to go for a wraparound gank here onto Gelati, whose flash was burnt earlier, but his backup this time. There's the Karthus ult combined with the Graves ult. Not enough, as Gelati is going to drop down to, looks like, about 70 health on that gank, able to survive it. And Ivern's going to take the first tower up in top lane, as we see lots of poke damage going down in the bottom. As Badger's trying to get as much pressure as he could to try and get that first brick, but Ivern was too successful up top.
Yeah, and you see how much health Gelati survived there. Mm-hmm. That is exactly what I'm talking about. Chances are it wouldn't have mattered because Karthus usually doesn't go blasting one first on round S. He would have gotten the
Aegis. Not the Aegis, the Catalyst.
Yeah, the Catalyst instead. But still, it's that effect where if you're not where you need to be on Karthus, you can't get those kills.
Mm-hmm. Now Graves is going to try and get in onto this Darius with the help of Sejuani. Karthus is coming over well to just lay down a slow and a couple of Qs. Darius is laying as much damage as he can. He's going to flash out, and with the spin, gets a heal. Not enough, as we see Ivern going to get a gank down in the bot lane as flash comes out and heal from the bot lane. There's the Nami ult, as well as Badger's going to be rooted, but nice bubble by the Nami with the 2 goes down, but they're pushing up for these kills as the minions behind them actually took out their tower.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is, if you look at this, you can see the difference between these two teams just in this one. As Graves collapsed on the top lane to try and pick up Tuba, the Ivern Mayor went to the bottom side for a counter map play and actually did something. If you compare that to what was going on earlier with XFX, he wasn't really accomplishing anything when Tuba was getting so far ahead from the Ivern ganks.
Mm-hmm. He was just trying to play catch up back to Ivern's level. I mean, he's now caught back up finally and is in a good position, but he's not in the position he needed to be in at the time. Everything occurred.
That is the reason you pick Ivern. If you can get that 3 buff and get that early counter jungle, you force that on the enemy. They have no choice but to play catch up.
And Ivan's just going to walk out of the jungle here. He does have the Cupcake Daisy as support, and Gelati in his Dark Sphere Ball. I'm terrible with the skin names.
Now, you were asking earlier about what the two different teams wanted to do. And you had mentioned that it was kind of a slower game, and both teams wanted to farm up.
Mm-hmm.
For the most part, that's right. Though the difference is in who wants the farm on the teams.
Well, Nami doesn't want farms because she got caught in her jungle. And yet again, on blue buff spawn, Ivern is there, steals it away, and with the collapse of, the Karma, who doesn't have to be in bot lane anymore because his tower is gone, and Darius having so much control of the top half of the map, that was a pretty easy kill. No vision as well.
And that's the third blue buff in a row. They haven't gotten a single one yet.
Yeah. And we're tower diving the Sejuani, who does get the stun off, and the Karthus ult is able to take out the Darius, as Karma's now here with the help of Ivern. They're not going to go in. There's the Nami ult. It's going to secure the kill on the Ivern. Too greedy in the bot lane as Gelati goes in onto 789, takes him out. No ult to follow up. Burnt earlier as Nami actually finishes the kill onto Karma, as the AD carries just play Farmville in bot lane.
Mm-hmm. And when you look at this, that was a pretty good for
Bear Dogs? I mean, they're if you don't include the Nami death earlier in their jungle, there, they literally just went 3 for 1.
Right, and that is a really good trade. The situation, though, like overall, tactically, plays a little bit more into Rumble's hands in terms of we were seeing at the end. The 80 carries are just playing farm.
And they stuck around too long trying to get a tower in mid lane, and the hook came in, and down goes the fish.
Yep. At that point, they've respawned back to defend. You might be able to get the tower, but you don't quite get it, and if you don't quite get it, you die. At least one person, and when it's 4 and 3, you have that slight edge, so you don't want to risk giving up that edge you just worked so hard to get.
And that edge actually was able to get Karthus, the Rod of Ages, right at the 14-minute mark, but he's still sitting on, a full 10 minutes before that thing's fully charged. Mm-hmm. Is this something where the Bear Dogs are just going to have to suck it up and just try and collect the wave still? Or can... He's taking a lot of poke damage in mid lane.
Pretty much, because when you look at it, Orianna doesn't necessarily have to farm that much when you compare it to Karthus. Tuba, Darius, doesn't have to farm that much compared to Sage. Sage really...
He's doubling his CS right now, so...
he's doing it, but he doesn't have to. He can look for those fights.
Mm-hmm.
The only person on Rumble's team that really, really, really needs to play the farm game is Jinx.
Yeah, and she is currently sitting at 116, so slightly behind Badger, as there is the stun and ult coming out from Sejuani onto Darius, preventing any type of engage up there. Now... will we be seeing any rotations around like we did in the first game, in the second game for the Rift Herald? It looks like we're happening right now. Are these teams known for these type of plays? Or it looks like we're having another Rift Herald for Dragon trade, as Graves is going to take that instead. But
so
it's another air Drake, by the way.
What is it? Well, if it's an air drake, I really like air drakes. I think they're a lot better than people give them credit for. But I still don't think that it's probably quite as good as the updated Rift.
Well, Mayor Weevil summons the Rift Herald basically as soon as it spawns, as soon as he can, and just drops it in lane, and it just gets absolutely shredded as it looks like. But it does take down the tier 2, so that's really impactful. As the Chompers actually lands on 3, and there's the Jinx ult with a rocket. It's going to take down Nami. And another charge onto the inhibitor tower here as the does get off only the 2 charges, basically. And they did get a tower to kill out of it. But that was just a blunt-forced object being used there, not a precise killing tool.
Well, honestly, I don't think you're ever going to get much more than a tower and some change off of it. It's not quite tanky enough to survive doing that, especially with the fact that it deals less damage as it gets less healthy. So they got probably as much out of it as you can reasonably ask for.
And Jinx over the side is in a weird spot considering her team is nowhere near here, including Ivern with the shields. But they don't have a really good engage on the side of Bear Dogs to get in onto a hyper carry, even if she is out of position like that.
The only chance they really have to do it is a Sejuani ult for a Q flash. Nami isn't quite fast enough. The ult particle is too easy to avoid. And nobody else has any actual hard CC apart from Caitlyn Trap.
Yeah, and Ivern's stole another blue buff while all that was happening. So this Karthus has been absolutely starved of any type of mana, support that a lot of mid laners are used to, especially on someone who's as mana dependent as Karthus can be.
Well, and that's another thing to talk about. Some mid laners you can get by without it. Like, when I was playing Mouse, I would be okay.
Oh, jeez. There's the... Sorry, Shockwave. And that ult is going to finish off the Nami as we have fights going on in multiple lanes. It looks like the Darius and the Ivern trying to keep Karthus busy so he can't ult, but he does, and Orianna blocks the Caitlyn ult, saves the Karma. Graves ult, not enough damage as he's only finished his jungle item. As they were pushed off, and it looks like the Bear Dogs are going to be able to get this mid lane tower. So they trade Nami for mid lane, but this Nami already has 4 deaths. It's getting a little rough there for her. Keep getting hit by too many hooks. Either Orianna ult, Ivern snare, Darius pull. She's a fish. She's supposed to stay away from hooks.
Well, I played with 295 Sum, and she is a really good player. Whatever it is about this game, she seems to be having a rough streak, so... I mean, I look forward to her coming back and doing some better things. But you're right, she did not really have to die to take that tower. That tower was low enough that if they could get 1 or 2 solid wave pushes in, they could have gotten it without that damage.
And I think that was the problem that they were actually running into, is the fact that Orianna and the Jinx had too much wave clear that they could push into, and the only reason why they did it is because the Graves ult plus the Nami ult and Sejuani got some damage, and the Karthus ult took them all down to about 10% health, and they had to use body blocking for the Caitlyn ult and heal and Orianna ball to prevent any of their players from going down. Caitlyn wasn't touched. She was able to get up to the tower to finally take it out.
And that's the tricky situation they're in right now. Neither team is ahead enough to do Baron on spawn. Dragon wasn't up for another 2.5 minutes. So all the outers were down except for top, I think. So,
yeah, we were watching the mid lane here as Darius actually got 2 mans down in the bot lane with Karthus and Sejuani, but was able to pick up the kill on Karthus in return. So going 1 for 1 in a 2v1 is really good, especially when you have this 4-man shield comp on this Jinx.
Definitely. And this allows that unit to just put some pressure down mid. And all the bottom lane got stalled out because the Karthus had to die for it.
Now, with these, you said, yeah, they're just now, all the outers are taken, but 1 tower in favor right now of Van Rebel. That's the tier 2 and top lane. And the wards are slittered along the top half of the map right now. The dark half of the map is pretty much dark, except for the champions running there now. And the next dragon spawns in 30 seconds, and it's a mountain.
And mountain is going to be pretty critical in terms of setting up for Baron. That's so for towers. Tower situation is going to be fine on both sides. Caitlyn can do it okay. Jinx can do it okay. It's going to be important in getting down the major objectives in the future.
Did you see a 5v5 versus this for this dragon, as Ivern and Jinx actually both backed after they took Scuttle Crab? I know they're going to be able to heal up and pick up some items, but Dragon has spawned. They're kind of allowing the other team to maybe get in here and get some vision.
And that's really good for the other team. Getting that vision is important.
Well, that didn't matter. The Caitlyn ult did absolutely nothing because of the shields Orianna can put on herself. She popped the barrier and her own E, and Caitlyn ult couldn't eat through any of that. And so she's now at full health, able to come back in. I know Caitlyn ult's not the most important thing, as Jinx drops the chompers and gets some nice autos in, as Karthus came in from the side in onto the Ivern and the Karma, as Caitlyn's going to actually take out Gelati. Jinx rocket comes over, not enough, and out of place, flashed over by Ivern, and no one's on this Jinx yet other than Karthus, who was able to get some damage, but now we have AoE stuns. Ivern's trying to come over the peel for the AD carry. Not sure it's going to be enough, as Dunk comes out by Tuba, takes down the boar, and the squishy members of Bear Dogs, they got to run away because, you know, Band Rumble's on a mission. Looks like they're going to just say, you know what, if you want to, you know, continue dragging, we'll just take the, you know, tower down in bot lane. I think it's still protected, as Caitlyn's going to push mid, maybe get some redemption damage.
It's something where Gelati managed to do a lot in that fight, but he didn't really manage to finish anyone off. And once Gelati died, the rest of the team... Sorry, no, sorry, I mixed them up. Because Gelati's always playing Karthus.
Yeah, yeah, that's the thing. I was like, yeah, Gelati did die early. He landed a nice shockwave on two members, as we see we're going back at it here at the Dragon. Teleports coming in from both top laners as the Dragon has been started. And Tuba's just going to run right in there, gets in on the Karthus. Nice Q for the heal. And Karthus is not going to die in the gust spot, as Ivern's actually takes out the Dragon, so that's going to have to be more damage. Jinx is get the kill on Karthus. Tuba's off by himself, trying to get some heals. There are the three shields coming out. Too many shields. Shockwave from Orianna. Sombrero's in the bush and peels off. Just the dead Karthus.
And, like, yeah, Karthus can get stuff out of dying. But it's not something you really try to do. And if you look at the spots, this is what I was trying to say when I was accidentally talking about Gelati earlier. Karthus is doing a pretty good amount of zone control, but the rest of his team hasn't been there to keep Bane Rumble on top of him. So they're free to just run away, and then once he dies, they're free to just run past him. And him just being dead there doesn't matter, because they just walk past.
As we see collapse now, vision control going to be tried to be placed around this Baron. It looks like they're going to jump in. Nice stun onto Jinx. There's the redemption and the heal being, or not heal, not burn. Nice bubble, but you know, there's too many shields between Karma, redemption, one locket. There's an artist sensor. You know, there's not a dive to get to Jinx, and there's not a dive to get to Caitlyn. But Caitlyn doesn't have three champions, you know, keeping her propped up and at full health.
Yeah, and this is a major difference between first we had this season, where in a previous game we had an Ahri, like we had champions that all individually had a major kill threat on the enemy team. Right now, Sedge isn't going to kill an enemy team by herself. Karthus isn't going to kill another person by himself. He takes two.
And the shields come out onto Darius as they run away, and they just body block for the Darius. As Darius just went behind the tower, it ignored all of the damage coming out from the Karthus and from Graves, and just soloed, you know, under tower, as, you know, Jinx and Orianna got some autos in. They traded tier 2 in mid lane, and they got it. They gave up tier 1, and looks like The Chompers and the Orianna ult take out Sejuani. Caitlyn trying to deal as much damage as she can from behind. Graves with a great plastic plate. It's going to knock Ivern away as Caitlyn's going to finish that one off. Caitlyn's not going to be able to finish the one. Oh, does able to take out Jinx. The great play from Badger as he picks up the triple kill. Now Gelati has to run because no one else with him. Teleport coming in from Karthus, I guess. Sejuani is dead, and they're going to run right into Darius, and Darius is like, hey, Karthus, we just did this a minute ago. Let's dance again, buddy.
Yeah. This is a really good example of a point I like saying about Badger, and it's that you can kill Badger, but he will make it take way too many resources to be worth it.
Yeah, I mean, he picked up a triple kill before he went down.
Yeah.
And the Karthus went in, thought that he could get to the Orianna because she was by herself running back to the fight. But Darius was able to come back after healing, and as soon as he showed up, Karthus was in a very poor spot. And with the result of that kill in the control now, this has kind of been a bloody few minutes. Not a lot of map movements, kind of trading towers a little bit, as Nami's going to get rooted yet again by a snare. Ults out from Sejuani to try and get in, but Daisy doesn't, care. With the knockup, Jinx picks up a kill. 5-1-5 on this Jinx. The CS, she may be down 50 CS to the Caitlyn. There's the Orianna ult, pulls 3 in. The hook gets in. Looks like Karthus goes down yet again. There is redemption, as no one can fight in the Karthus, not the Rec Room, the circle.
Lay waste.
Lay waste. And lay waste is the Q.
Defile. There you go.
Defile. Badger's laying lots of damage on when he can get there, but his frontliners are not being frontliners for very long.
Well, and a lot of that is just because of how far ahead Tuba is specifically. Badger's gotten some great shockwaves, but Tuba is 5-3 and 6, is 120 CS up. Darius isn't known as one of the major mid, but when you're that far ahead, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, he's 3k gold up from his opposing laner. He is a full completed item up over his laner as well, and he hasn't had to really, build any armor other than Dead Man's, because he's just been going straight at the APs here at Karthus and Sejuani during the fights.
And if you look at the gold differential, it's 7k. As you were showing just a minute ago, almost all of that is in the top lane matchup.
Yeah, it's almost up to 4k in the top lane, so it is piled onto one player. In the previous matches we watched this evening, the gold disparity was split even amongst the team, whereas here it seems drastically in one position. Well, two actually, if you want to check out the mid laners here, as it looks like we have 4-man squad going in here, and Orianna's going to get knocked out before she can land a shockwave. Ult teleport's finally coming out from Darius, but it's not going to matter, as he's now off by himself. He teleported too far behind his team. Karthus is going down and gets the ult off. It's going to help take down Darius, who did get caught behind, but now they're not in the best position, as Gelati lands a great QW combo. Ivern gets hit with the bubble, but they do not have the position, as there's another redemption being used on Ivern to heal up. Badger and XFX are fighting over blue buff. Finally, someone on their team gets one, but that's not going to matter because, Jinx tears through towers and inhibitors when she's this far ahead, or at least this many items.
Yeah, and this is a great show of decision-making on Rumble's part. Instead of chasing into the jungle, they just take the objective. This is the perfect chance to break the base open and get the inhibitor, which is quite often a lot harder than actually finishing the final push.
And with the control, not only do they get mid tower and mid inhibitor, they take tier 2 bot lane, and they're able to wrap around and get another dragon.
And it's another cloud.
Jeez, what is with Cloud Dragons, man? I don't have a problem with Cloud Dragons. I'm not against them or for them, but you know, 2 in this game, 2 in the last game, 3 in the previous game. We've seen nothing but clouds tonight, and it's not raining.
And I'm okay with it because in the end, it shows it's though better for rotations and stuff. And who doesn't like a good rotation? Mm-hmm. We're here to learn, after all.
Yep. And it looks like Ivern is at a full build minus his jungle item, which he has left at the little talisman thing. And with that being said, we're getting to that point where certain people are getting to their late game phase, while others are still stuck in mid game. 3-item Jinx here going up against, you know, Sejuani's building full armor, but the only person on her team that has any armor, actually.
And also, if you look in the other direction, the only magic resist on the team is through the Merc Threads and Braves, and Nomad and Block and Aegis, or whatever that thing is on Nami.
It didn't matter in that fight who had what, because they all died. Well, except for Nami. That was a pretty brutal fight as Badger got cut off, and they tried to pincer in onto the Baron, and it was not successful whatsoever. And with 4 members dead and picking up Baron, that's going to be into the game.
When you don't have defensive stats like that on your team, it's a competition to see who does damage better. And Rumble were ahead enough to the point where they just did that job.
They did. So 33-minute victory here for Ban Rumble. Tuba got really far ahead up in top lane. He did get to, looks like, 160 CS, so definitely another Flame Horizon from the top laner tonight. Seems to be pretty dominant in this top division. Is the top division, is it just it just happens that the teams at the top have really strong top laners, or
I'd say either the top lane or the jungle is the most stacked lane in the highest tier. In the top lane, we have Shalati and Herdis, and even people like Skold and whatnot are solid in their own right. Mm-hmm. In the jungle, we have we have Donger, we had Kyo whenever he subs. We have people like Mayor, and Mayor is good, and you have people like what's his name that always subs against us, who played Lee Sin in the last games.
Oh, crap.
Nah.
He hopefully he's not watching, because he's gonna make fun of us.
No, I'm looking it up real quick. I shouldn't have to do this. I'm bad for it. Anyway, though,
yeah.
Those two are definitely the most stacked lane. There's kind of a weird meta in the mid lane where more people than not run supportive mid laners, and the only people that really break that trend are Ninja, who plays Assassins, and Froz, who plays Ziggs, and everybody else tends to play pretty... I mean, even Ziggs kind of falls into it. Pretty standard, wave clear, more supporty styles. Mm-hmm. And bottom lane, like, all of the AD carries, there are very few that stand out above each other, and they all play similar things.
Well, if you're an AD carry, your champion pool is the 4 current champions of the day. And that's about it.
Yep, definitely.
So, do you want to touch on anything between the two teams? It looks like they did finish off with almost 15k gold lead, double the kills, and now, remember, they were down kills a little bit earlier, or they were down like 1 kill, but they definitely had the much better pressure early game going into the mid game. Definitely controlled it going into late.
I guess the two comments I have is that, first of all, Tuba did work on the Darius.
He did.
if you're going to give him the Darius, and I know you're already banning other stuff out for him probably, but the Darius too, if you're going to give him that, you need a plan for it, because it's going to turn out badly. And in the mid lane, Karthus ended 3-9-4 on a takeaway pick from Gelati. If you're going to take away the Karthus to make sure Gelati doesn't play it, like, at some point, you have to make sure you're not doing badly on a champion you're unfamiliar with.
I think there was maybe a little bit of communication. It seemed like it's kind of hard when you don't have a really solid engager to follow up behind as Karthus. And looking at the draft and taking the Sejuani and the Graves, like we talked about in Pick Band, of being the two, on our opinions, two of the top 3 to 5 strongest junglers at the moment, and trying to control the draft that way, it seems like a really good plan. Just maybe the execution wasn't quite as comfortable as a team. Whereas, Gelati's comfortable on Orianna, Mayer looked pretty comfortable on Ivern. As you talked about how well Tuba played Darius, and the bot lane just had to stay even. And while Badger did get a nice CS lead, did get the the tower, almost got first brick, just wasn't enough to overcome the strengths of the top half of the map.
Yeah, and I know I keep on drawing comparisons to the first game that happened, but the reason the Shield comp lost in the first game was that they got behind early and couldn't keep up.
Mm-hmm.
The blue team this time, you have Sejuani top against Darius. You have Karthus mid against Orianna. You have Graves against Ivern. That is not a team that gets ahead early. And if you don't get ahead against the shield comps like this, even if you do get past the Darius, you're not going to be able to kill the hyper carry Jinx through all that.
Yep. So we're going to take a minute break here and get set up for the game 2 of the match between Bear Dogs and Ban Rumble.
All right.
Hey Zillion, I challenge you to a battle.
But why, my boy? I'll beat you every time. Get it? Time!
Yeah, I'm the boy that had left time shattered. I'm ending this battle quickly because every second matters. Counter everything you do, I've got unlimited redos. You know the rift is only big enough for one time, dude. How can you even call yourself a chrono mage? Time hasn't been good to you, you look bad for your age. Whether it's top, middle, or jungle, I'll be bringing the pain. The only thing that you're good at is feeding the bottom lane.
I knew you'd say that. You're lucky that you didn't face me in my prime. I mean, do you know who I am? I practically invented time. I've been around for forever. Respect your elders and surrender. You only go back 4 seconds. You're a chrono pretender. How cute you use an hour hand as a weapon to attack. A real master of time would have a clock strapped to his back. I get that your gimmick is to fight, retreat, repeat, but the only thing that echoes is the sound of your defeat.
Oh, not again with those dad jokes.
Well, I am Father Time.
Wait a minute, take that back and rewind. Cause if you think that I can lose, then you are out of your mind. With my zero drive device, I have all the second chances to go back and change all the unfavorable circumstances. All you're really good for is your life-saving ability, while I put out tons of damage with utility and mobility. I've seen your future, and it's got broken bones. If time is money, then buddy, well, you're gonna need a loan.
I'm leveling my carries with my time in a bottle, assisting them into battle. I'll be speeding full throttle. I've been around long enough to know this game's about the team, so just keep on playing solo if you know what I mean. Although I will commend you, you are quite the engineer, but getting to my level would take a zillion years. You're wasting my time, so I'll put this to an end. You've just lost the battle like you've lost your little friend.
Okay, we're going to jump right back in here. We got game 2 coming up now. And pick bands should be going here in just a moment. So what would you be looking for the pick bands coming out in this game after, Band Rumble probably, they don't really need to change anything. It didn't look like they had pretty well controlled, but maybe something different from Bear Dogs. Do they have a trick up their sleeve maybe? Secret strat?
I'm not sure what you do in their situation. If you look at last ban phase, they banned the Rumble and banned the Gato and banned Lulu. One of the issues you have when playing against Ban Rebel, and this is one of the reasons they're the top team in Vantage right now, there are way too many champions you have to ban against them. You have to ban the Rumble. You have to ban the Darius or pick it away. You have to ban or pick away the Karthus. You have to ban or pick away the Galio. You can't do it all. So whatever you don't do, you have to have some sort of plan for. And honestly, that means you have to prioritize in-game who you're going to let play something. And you're going to have to pressure that person hard enough.
Now, in this one, they decide to ban out the Karthus and trying to either steal it or anything like that. And they leave up the Darius, but they did leave up the Lulu, and Ban Rebel pretty much insta-locked that in.
That is the case. And Lulu right now, as far as Ban Rumble's bottom lane goes, their team can play pretty much anything. Badger has champions he likes playing, like Lucian, but he's good on pretty much everything. He's serviceable. He can make it work. No, Badger's and Bear Dogs. Sorry, I'm thinking about last season. Anyway, Ban Rumble's ADC can make any ADC work, pretty much. And with the Ludo, I expect it to be a hybrid carry. This is important that Ludo and Ivern are not going to be on the same team. So they're not going to get the Ivern Ludo Caitlyn. They might have to go for something like a Karma instead if they want the double shield support.
Well, Bear Dogs go with the strongest supportive jungler right now, but Ban Rumble goes with the OG supportive jungle in Nunu.
And as we've been seeing in MSI lately, Nunu has some interesting interactions with Ivern, such as being able to Q Daisy and make it mostly irrelevant.
Now, it looks like, Tuba is going for the Renekton blind here, going into the top lane for the Bear Dogs. Anything, specific looking there? I mean, why not take the Darius again? He doesn't know what he's going up against.
So, looking at this team comp, that's a supportive jungler and a supportive support. I mean, it's kind of redundant, but anyway. I'm assuming they want a little bit more damage out of the top lane to cover up for that fact.
Mm-hmm.
Because Nunu, what is good, it has the Blood Boil. Doesn't have quite the shielding power of Ivern. He's a second rate when it comes to protecting your AD carry. He has a few other things we talked about, but that's beside the way. He's a slightly less reliable increase of damage source. So when you have that, you kind of have to put damage somewhere else. And again, Tuba, we've talked about as Darius, but Tuba is almost undisputably the best top laner in Vantage. If I trusted anyone to just start picking Renekton blind, he would be the one.
Well, Skullhead feels confident in his Sejuani play because they picked it again, this time going into the Renekton.
Well, we saw it was a little rough of a matchup last time. I'm not sure how to work on this time. It's a different matchup, but it's honestly a more aggressive matchup, where Renekton's going to want to go in even harder than Darius might. We see Orianna getting picked up just because I mean, it worked out really well for Gelati last time. No reason to change it. Mm-hmm. It's a really safe blind pick. The only real thing against it is Ari in the meta, and Ari is a champion that you have to be comfortable with to play. You can't just pick her up.
They banned her.
No. Oh, they banned her. So it's even better blind pick.
And Bear Dogs are going to round out their comp with the little Yordle.
Yep. And Ziggs at this point isn't even necessarily a pick they want, like they would like picking. It's a pick that says, okay, I'm going to keep Orianna in the mid lane and keep her from doing anything else. And that's what it's going to do for the first half of the match. The question is whether or not that's going to be enough for Ivern to create pressure on the other lanes. If Ziggs just keeps around the mid lane and does nothing, and Ban Rumble doesn't care, then it's not actually doing anything.
Yep, so as we look at the just overall team comps here, we seem to have we got the supportive junglers out there. We have shield bots coming out from the supports. Mm-hmm. A melee versus melee. Renekton's a lane bully. Maybe the Sejuani into Darius is just an absolute terrible matchup for her, and this can go better for the Sejuani. Once again, we didn't know very much on Sejuani going into the first game, and so maybe this hope will be better for him in this one. And then Ziggs, Orianna, you just touched base on. A lot of similarities. A lot of the teams here have been running in this top division. A lot of these shield comps, protect comps, support comps. Mm-hmm. As we get the game kind of loaded up here, just sort of touch base on that. Is that a lot of stuff based on seeing what's on MSI, all the changes in the last few patches, or is with the mid-season update? I know they buffed Nunu a little bit ago, and Ivern's just been a monster. Is this sort of just a culmination of a bunch of little things, or is it something very specific you can pinpoint?
It's all of the above, really. Though, I'm really excited about this match in particular, because I don't think I've ever actually seen two hypercarry support comps going against each other.
Yeah? So, are you the Ashe with the... Now, here's a question. Mm-hmm. This is actually not really a question, kind of a comment leading into a question. Nunu's Blood Boil gives attack speed and movement speed. Mm-hmm. And Lulu's little shield buff on her W also gives attack speed and gives the exact same attack speed as Nunu.
Really?
Yes. When they updated Lulu, I remember looking it up, being like, "What's Nunu's attack speed buff?" Right? It's pretty much at rank 5. It's the exact same, if I'm not mistaken. Or if it's different, it's off by a very tiniest of margins. So if that information in play, I know Ashe is going to want to get Hurricane. I know Ashe is going to want to get Blade of the Rune King because that's the meta we're in right now. Mm-hmm. But that's a shit ton of attack speed that's not coming from items or runes or masteries that normally happens with an AD carry. Do you think she can be a little bit more aggressive and go more damage because she is getting 1 or 2 attack speed buffs at all times?
So it is really important to note that Bear Dog's team doesn't actually have any way to increase attack damage on Kaden. Ivern Shield doesn't give bonus damage, unless that's changed.
Nope.
Soraka doesn't give bonus damage. She gives sustain.
Mm-hmm.
So, damage-wise, Bane Rumble has more support. Which means Ashe... I'm not going to say she's going to go and get like an IE or anything. I don't know what Ashe builds. But what it will afford her is the opportunity for an earlier 800 gold Executioner's Calling. Which is going to severely cut the efficiency of something like Soraka.
Yeah. Okay, I'm loaded up here. Then,
all right.
Oh, we had touch base on the last little bit, 2 bits there. I think this is going to be a really good match here. So we are going to get going, and I'm going to count down 5, 4.
Overlay real quick.
Yeah, it's over.
Okay.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And I'm at 0, 1 second, 2 seconds, 3 seconds, 4 seconds, 5 seconds. Okay, so going back in, we now have Ivan Bander picked in every game. And Orianna and Ziggs seen multiple returns to the Rift. We've seen lots of Lulu today. But this is the first Soraka game we've seen. This is the first Renekton game we've seen. And this is definitely the first Nunu game we've seen. And I am going to try my best just to hover over Mayor the entire game so we can listen to Nunu bot.
I mean, if you play Nunu, you have to have that skill. I'm pretty sure it's locked.
Although the Disco Party one, as it looks like the early invade from Ban Rumble has made Ivern flash, and they're the team going against the Ivern, and they're definitely getting that deep, vision control in early, making sure that their jungler doesn't get 3 buff like last time.
Yep. And I know I've hammered it in every time, but you really have to know where Ivern's.
So much power in controlling the vision. Now, Nunu doesn't necessarily need blue buff. He's not a dependent jungler, but Nunu does have a problem taking some AoE camps until he gets his Nami Cinder.
He's not exactly the fastest of clears. It's not slow by any means, but he does have some problem with specific camps.
He's safe though. He's never like at low health.
That is correct.
And he will be able to help secure buffs and with his smite and consume at once going on. So 789 just elected to take the Ziggs into Orianna. Is this something that he's going to be a lot more comfortable on than the Karthus? He stole it last game, but maybe just out of place.
789, if you look at what Ban Rumble has been banning, they've been banning stuff like the Xerath. His favorite category of champions are the long-range siege mages. And while Ziggs isn't exactly Xerath, he falls pretty nicely in that same category.
So, we'll play style the same.
Yeah.
As we just sort of watched some trading down here in the mid lane, it looks like they're just wailing on each other as both of them are using pots and potions, fighting in the minion wave. Badger's getting the early push in as Caitlyn, kind of, with the extra long range, out poking so far. As Soraka throws out some Qs to heal up, just kind of pushing, and Sejuani is actually getting a nice auto attacks in and does get stunned into and stunning up Tuba. Ivern misses the Q though, but nope, Zard did land it, is the root. I thought he has a flash by one champion, and First Blood's going to go over to Ivern. I think Ivern's either picked up First Blood or at least been part of First Blood in every match he's been played tonight.
That's really impressive, honestly, considering how he had that flash on the first invade. And it's really important right there he ganks at that point, because if he doesn't, Skullhead was on the end of a really bad trade, and there's a good chance Renekton could have followed up later on for a follow-up kill. This is even better because Renekton kind of relies on getting that early snowball. If it doesn't happen, he has a much harder time being relevant in the mid to late stages.
And looks like Gelati took a positive trade in his favor and was able to take 789 down to about a quarter of his health, sending him back to base for another Doran's Ring. As we see now, Skullhead has picked up a Corrupting Pot in top lane. I don't know how much mana Sejuani uses in top lane, and I know it's good for trades to cut down on like the healing and the excess damage you can get from it, and it's good for more sustain, but I'm not exactly sure. Once again, Sejuani top lane is new to both of us here, as he does get a nice actual trade into the Renekton there, and Olaf Nunu runs by, throws a snowball at him. So Sejuani is actually getting the better of these trades, slightly behind in CS because Renekton probably has got better wave clear with his abilities. That would help, it seems.
And one of the reasons...
Gelati, who has to pop, had to pop the barrier there to prevent from going down, as 79 dumped a whole bunch of spells on him. And Skull's going to go down to 10% health up on top, but we're going to watch Mayor Huevos just run circles around Ziggs. I should have looked at bot lane because we got Ivern ganking down there. Sorry, George, you'll get to talk eventually, as Flash comes out from Ashe to keep herself alive. And I think... Okay. Go.
Oh. No, I mean, it's much easier for me if I don't have to... No, really though, I like what Ivan was doing there. He took a chance to go and try and get stuff off. Doesn't really get too much out of it. It's more of a show up and drive by. But he was trying to do something when he didn't have anything else on that side of the map. And if you look at his jungle, all of it was clear. So it wasn't just going back to base and doing nothing. He was doing something when he had nothing else to do.
Yeah, when you said nothing was left on the map, there's only one camp that was actually up in the jungle, and it had just spawned like seconds before you said it, and the Krug's up in top lane, so he legitimately had nothing to do in the jungle.
I am really liking XFX's path here. It's a lot harder than you'd think to be able to manage everything and keep up, especially with his style of wave clear. We have to come back to camps.
Well, he's busy laying down the groves, but Nunu took the blasting plant over the wall, has a pink ward and dragon pit, knows he's not seen, knows he is safe, he has flash if needed, he could escape, but this is probably going to be a 7-minute dragon, first ocean we've seen tonight, and with that ocean, that means more mana, more health for the champions in lane. For the extended laning phase, as both these teams seem to like the laning phase.
This is a really good Drake to get for the style of mid laner Gelati is, and for Nunu himself, especially in the matchup against Ziggs, because Ziggs wants to push you out of lane and just get an item advantage by attrition. Ocean is, again, you probably would rather have an Infernal, but Ocean Dragon is one of the best ways you can get to avoid that and stay in lane just that little bit longer to get those item spikes.
Nunu tried to go in for an invade onto blue buff, but it looks like it was prevented by Caitlyn, I think, or Ivern may have... No, Ivern's smite is up. So Caitlyn was able to take blue buff back, or take it away from the Nunu, getting blue buff, allowing the spam now out more Qs and Ws. But with that being said, Ziggs doesn't have it. Now Ivern's going to walk right into Tuba and back right in front of his flash in by Tuba. And here comes Daisy, and Renekton slice and dice through and just takes down... I'm not exactly sure what killed the Ivern there, because unless it was the AoE damage coming out from the ult from Renekton, that was a 2v1 and Tuba just put him to shame.
Mm-hmm. A while back, somebody asked me, if you're ahead in lane and you can't really do anything for fear of getting ganked, what you do to pressure the rest of the map. And they were saying, hey, I can't gank mid because the mid laner knows I'm missing, so they play safer. My response was what Tuba did in this scenario. You go and gank the enemy jungler, because the enemy jungler is almost never gonna say, oh, they're gonna solo invade me and kill me.
George, right on time, talking about ganking the enemy jungler. Nunu just runs, tries to right behind Nunu, tries to chase him down, to get stunned up by the Sejuani there, and tries to get in. Apparently, Twitch chat tells me that red buff tick damage was what killed Ivern off. I didn't see that he had red buff because, well, he had his ult running, and you can't see the little red circle.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's... Tuba is doing a really good job. He's not getting nearly the same lead as he did on Sedge last game, but he's doing a good job of pushing those advantages somewhere else. He's not keeping them at the top lane. He's distracting the Ivern and forcing him to, well, number one, die, and number two, just be a little bit more cautious than he would normally.
As we see Sejuani teleporting back up to top lane. We got some trading going down here in the bottom lane. Nice silence coming out from Soraka. And Badger's going to lay down lots of auto attack. And double exhaust will come out. Asher comes out on the Soraka, but she's able to get off the Wish as Lulu is trying to mail as much poke damage. And ults have been used by Lulu as well. Caitlyn ult takes a huge chunk of damage out of Ashe, but she's going to be able to live. Great trading down in bot lane from both these teams. Overall health, I'm going to say, is probably dead even, but Lulu she's at full health while Ashe is really low, while about even for the other two laners on Caitlyn and Soraka.
Yep. And you can see right here the Soraka pick was in keeping Kate alive. If Ashe has the chance to get that Executioner's Calling like I was talking about earlier, Caitlyn does not get to survive that long. So I'm looking more towards the mid game. Hopefully, I mean for Ashe, they can get into a spot where that's not better.
We're just looking at some trading definitely in lanes. Both the junglers went for mid lane appearances. And Nunu dropped his ult, and Ivern shielded it and did basically nothing. Now Gelati is going to dodge the one snare and land some more poke damage, as there's the Qs, and Nunu basically smites and chomps down on Daisy with a couple autos for Orianna. Daisy falls ridiculously fast. There's that reaction we were talking about, how Nunu can kind of counter Daisy and just take her out as Renekton pressure up in top lane, roams down here to mid, makes sure that they back, steals some Wraiths, as Nunu's going to get some nice whales onto this mid lane tower, and Ziggs is going to teleport to his tier 2 so he can lay some bombs back safely from the back line.
Yeah, it's interesting. In the higher tiers of advantage, from what you see, you don't actually get many ganks mid. Generally, it's not worth it. Instead, what you get are a lot of skirmishes like this, where where both teams just know what the other is doing and try to ram it down each other's throat. And just how significant getting Daisy out of that fight is. Ivern is still a good champion without Daisy. It's true, but killing Daisy and getting rid of it in the 2v2 skirmishes takes away so much of his power when he doesn't have an ADC to put that shield on and hope survive.
Tuba was able to get a huge chunk of damage out of Skullhead, who's now down to the tiniest bit of mana as we watch here. We're going to see if Tuba wants to dive this. His ult is down, and so is Sejuani's. Sejuani has a little bit of burn, and there's the stun, and Slice and Dice flashing out up in top lane. Sejuani is going to live as we see lots of action. Gelati's going to run back into the Nunu ult, and then Rushin comes down, and Ziggs goes over, but Gelati with the QW combo takes out the Yordle. Flash over the wall from Nunu is going to keep him alive. There's that action in the mid lane that you were talking about just a few seconds ago.
Yeah, it's very much what tends to happen is that the junglers get into something, or mid laner gets into it with one of them, and then the other two collapse on it and try to pick up what they can.
We see just more farming down here in the bot lane. Both of these games so far in this matchup have been a lot slower paced than the first two matches, where we had towers going down pre 10 minutes and lots of kills going back and forth. But a lot more, I don't want to say reserved play, but a lot more controlled atmosphere. It seems like both teams want to play more control the pace, where both the support junglers are at 43 CS and have participated in one kill. What is something that's going to push it to the next edge? What is something other than like Tuba, pushing Skullhead completely out of lane? What's the next thing that's going to turn this game up a notch and get going?
Well, probably at this point, the easiest way to break it open would be for one of the teams to push the other top laner out using a jungle gank and try for something using Rift. There's still 5 or so minutes left, so there's a good chance of we taking this. And with that, like, if you look at the mid lane tower, the mid lane tower for red side is under half health. That would go down.
Mm-hmm.
And if you can just get that one bit in, it starts to allow for more rotations and more team play.
Just as you say it, Nunu runs top and throws a snowball at a bear. And with his appearance in top lane, we got pings down onto the second ocean drink of the game. And with Ziggs and Caitlyn here, and Nunu, he's, you know, going to run by, maybe get a run by smite. Bushes don't work that way anymore. XFF, you can't really hide. There's a teleport coming in by Renekton. Looks like we're going to back off. Ash Arrow into Orianna ult. Looks like we're going to have some action now. Gelati's going to pick up one kill. Renekton's able to slice his dice his way in. Ash picks up that second kill. And Sejuani was late on the teleport. Darius wasn't. Actually, I think it was more the Ash Arrow into Orianna ult that actually secured them their second Ocean Drake of the game. But
and this is the other thing that has a chance. Just a team fight over an objective.
And now we're going to take, you know, that dragon fight into maybe a rift fight here, as all 5 members of Ban Rumble have come up to this, you know, Rift Herald. Jeez, there we got the Nunu bot laughing away. Gelati trying to play defense, so Ziggs can't throw his bomb, doesn't have an idea. There it goes down, picks it up. Let's see where they drop. Let's see if they drop it right away like they did last game.
Yeah, it's. If I had to choose, I'd probably say mid tower. I'm not sure about the top or bottom tower's health, but first of all, mid tower's the most important.
And there's the Ziggs ult, and the tower's going to go down. It looks like the tower's actually targeting champions, and Rift Herald charges in. He does get the hit on it to take it out, but he took, you know, the Rift loses a quarter of his health when he deals that damage, and takes another charge in the tier 2. There's the Orianna ult for the second time, and there's a slice and dice by Renekton, picks up one. Orianna to be able to take the second one. Ululu ult helps to secure the secure on Ziggs, and with that Rift dealing damage to tier 2, Badger is not here to clear the minion wave. He's busy trying to take his own tower. That's 1 tower, that's 2 towers. They're going to go for 3 towers with this Rift Herald here. It's going to fall down right as the tower in mid lane goes, and they're now giving up an inhibitor at 17 minutes. That was a drastic turn that we were kind of looking for.
That was such a beautiful shockwave. That allowed Tuba to dash in and follow up. And just that 4-man with the follow-up allowed them to keep Rift alive to get that inhibitor turret down. If that shockwave doesn't hit, then Ziggs and people are allowed to kite back and poke down the Rift before it even gets to that last final chance.
And they're going to just rotate it up top, take down another tower. Badger was able to get 1 tower for, you know, Bear Dogs, but as soon as you get Rift Herald, I think and the other team wants to 5-man it, you pretty much have to 5-man it in return. And they, like you said, Gelati landed an excellent shockwave into a slice and dice from Renekton. Lulu ult knocked up in the air to allow the continuation onto the Ziggs. And now they're going to get some return damage, but a tier 1 in bot and tier 1 in mid is not worth everything that they lost.
Now, before that fight happened, I was going to say
there's another shockwave, and flash ult from Nunu's not going to be enough. Badger is trying to run away as fast as possible. Ziggs drops out the bomb here as we may be looking at yet another fight. Silence comes out. Nice QW from Orianna. Ash is now here as the 180 carry has gone down. Renekton wasn't show up for the party. Sedge was there for the disengage, as they may look to rotate down towards this bottom wave with all 5 members up. Continue. Action.
Yeah, I mean, before all this action, I was going to be concerned about Ban Rumble's progress in the game, because they do have the huge mid-game damage potential of the Nunu plus Ludo on Ash. The thing is, after Kate gets 6 items, she has enough attack speed for that to not matter.
Yeah.
So,
And you did, as you did look for, Executioner Calling was the second item, or the second thing purchased right after he got Blade of the Room King. He also picked up tier 2 boots at that time. So that healing that you were looking for to get that early Executioner's Calling did come through.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so Ban Rumble really has to use this well, because there is always the chance with Zig, if it goes long enough, they can slow it out. But they're in a really good spot right now with the inhib down to make that not happen.
Well, Nunu laughs at your decision as they just, steps on traps, pushes in, allows Renekton to do a nice 4-1 split in top lane as Ziggs was dealing with the waves in the base, and Renekton's just going to slice and dice his way in onto the little Yordle, trying to disengage. Let's go back to the main group here. I mean, they got to give up a tier 2 somewhere, and looks like Ziggs is back to mid lane duty. I mean, it's 20 minutes. Ash Arrow right in onto Badger. It looks like we're popping ult across, and some redemption. Silence comes across. There's the Nunu ult trying to peel off, get some damage, and Rixey's looks too far forward at the moment. One tower does go down. Badger's trying to step his way up, making the plays, but he's going to go down, and that's with that AD carry down. They're not going to be able to defend this. Renekton is still pushing hardcore in the top lane. He's got 1 tower. He's going to be able to get 2. Ziggs at this stage in the game is still on minion wave clear duty, and with those towers going down, the AD carry not able to help. Ziggs has to use his ult in the top wave to help try and clear it out, as Tuba's just going to flash away from Sejuani, trying to get to his teammates, who are now pushing in on this inhibitor tower, and that went down faster than I could look at him to flash away.
Yeah. Like, Badger is a really good carry. He's a solid 80. The thing is, Froz is just as important to the team's success, and when you pull him away for the wave clear duty against the Renekton, he's not there for the team fights. And when you're playing Ziggs and you're not team fighting, you're not getting that AoE damage down.
And with the third Ocean Drake of the match, that's whatever siege potential they had has now skyrocketed, because they can just literally take a step back, wait, just the 8 seconds, start getting that regen going, and once that regen starts, they can just go right back at it, and that's literally every other wave. They can put Renekton either back in that 4-1 split, send him top, send him bot, send him mid, however they want to put it. Low focus this Baron.
Oh, so what you do here is bottom and hid is open, right?
Yep.
There's no tower to siege. It's already down. So you put Renekton there and then send 4 top. So that way Renekton's free to get the inhib if the 5th man comes to try and stop the bear. Which we see being done now.
They already have the Baron. Renekton wants to go in. He goes in onto Ziggs. He's 1v3ing right now. Ash Arrow comes out to get some help onto the Ziggs, and there's one redemption. Flash Nunu ult just for the slow. Does take down Soraka with no healing. This is probably going to be close to the end of the game, as there's not much they can do. And ult from Chalati takes down Badger. Shields coming out as well. Not much left to say in this one, as they were able to finish that fight pretty quickly, taking down any chance of wave clear on the side of Ban Rumble. This game exploded fast in the last 6 minutes, or not even, because not even 10 minutes ago, we were stuck in a stalemate at, one, no towers, no towers.
Like 4-1 kills, 2-1 kills?
Yeah. We watched the final push in here.
And honestly, Bear Dogs is still sitting on that 1 kill. been completely out macroed and rotated in this last game. In this last part of the game, sorry.
You're fine.
Yeah.
And with that, that is the final semifinal game of the Galactic division. Team 1, Ban Rumble, is going to go up against Team 2, Please Repot Maokai, in the championship game next week. Both of these teams showed very different strategies this evening in the way they played the Ivern Protect AD Carry shield comps, and, I guess Ban Rumble played a really supportive team comp in both games, and Maokai played a very aggressive style of team comp, even when they had the shield comp. So
I mean, when you look at it in the end, Maokai did what they needed to do when they needed to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And in the end, that's what wins you league games.
They did. So, just, George, give us a little wrap-up on the Ban Rumble versus Bear Dogs match before we give any more previews for next week.
Well, this not last one, was the first seed versus fourth.
Mm-hmm.
So, we're going to be looking at the first seed going on as expected.
Yep.
It was a good fight from Bear Dogs, but not quite enough. And honestly speaking, very few teams do really well against Ban Rumble Squad. So they did get beat pretty soundly, but I wouldn't be embarrassed about it if I were them.
Yeah, they were doing fairly well. They were just down 1 or 2 kills, like we said, about that 15, 16 minute mark, and then it literally flipped a switch. That dragon fight into taking Rift Herald, and to them that was their second Ocean Drake, and with the second Ocean Drake they got the sustain and regen. They took the Rift Herald. They used Rift Herald to one-shot the Tier 1. The great Gelati ult shockwave into the Renekton slice and dice with the Lulu pop-up, got them 2 or 3 more kills, and Rixie was able to just mow down that Tier 2 tower with the Rift Herald, who they kept up to take a 3rd tower. They used Rift Herald to take 3 towers in mid lane. We thought it was capable to take 1, possibly 2 if you got lucky, and they used it to take 3. That was an excellent performance right there. And then the inhibitor, and from there they just had absolute control of the map, and they closed it fast.
And this game
in 25 minutes.
Yeah, this game shows more than any other, I think. In these higher divisions, one mistake is enough to blow the game completely open and over.
That dragon fight was exactly at 16 minutes.
Yeah.
And they won the game in less than 10 after that.
You get one mistake, and that blows the game open. You get one more mistake, and that shuts the door on your chances of coming back.
So, as we look at this, I just want to say, congratulations, or thank you for performing the Bear Dogs. I know it's kind of rough if you to watch yourself to get beat, especially in a VOD the day after, and you knew what happened, but. Thanks, if you were here watching, thank you for participating, and good job in the season. You did make the playoffs. You had a good performance, and we enjoyed casting both of your games tonight. And I look forward to seeing a lot of these players. I've seen a lot of them in the Slack in previous seasons, and hopefully coming up in the next season as well, returning and maybe stepping up their game a little bit and coming out victorious on the next end.
Yep.
But
in the end,
next week, George, we still got a finals, man.
Mm-hmm. And in the end, you did better than our team.
Yeah,
so good for you.
My co-caster tonight's team didn't make the playoffs, so it's okay. It's not everyone can make the playoffs every season. So, George, preview Maokai versus Rumble.
This is honestly probably the most classic match of Vantage. You have Hurtus's team against Gelati's team, and while the skeleton has changed around it, Hurtus and Gelati used to be on the same team, and now they're different. Those two teams, or the one team when they were together, have been repeatedly up in the strongest section. And even with new players coming in, like, I mean, Tuba's a newer player, and on the other side, and there are new players on the other side. But in a sense, it's still the same old match of the top players in Vantage playing against each other. And if you're looking for the top names, these are the teams you're going to find them on.
Stylistically, we talked about how both of the games tonight for Band Rumble were a very specific support comp, and how both pretty much, you know, they looked very aggressive on the other side. Is there something that these teams can do to they're stylistically different? As this goes to those two leaders of the teams?
I will almost guarantee that Ninja Blood is not going to be playing Orianna or a supportive mid laner. It's not going to happen. Like, Ninja hates playing Ori when he's forced onto it. He prefers to be that get in your face, kill the enemy champion assassin.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and that honestly characterizes the team as a whole. Like, Repop Maokai is an aggressive team. So whatever you see, it's not going to be what we saw right here.
This slow burn from both ends.
Yeah. If they're going to go out, they're going to go out in a blaze of glory.
Well, that will be really exciting. So, I'm really looking forward to next week's championships, or when they get scheduled. Hopefully, we can get you them live or cast it. We will get the championships. All the playoffs will be casted sometime coming up. So, but we have more action going on the rest of this week. George, hopefully you'll stick around to at least watch. I know we got some other people lined up. We have the Supernova division still. Damn Pants versus Morning Scotch, and Goldfish Hammers versus the Desperados. Later this week, if I'm not mistaken, I think Gelati and Badger are doing one, or if not both of those. So look for more information from them coming up. And then on Sunday, when I get back into town, should be doing the Helio division. We have Outcast versus Smitten Kittens, and Claptrap versus X-Pirates. And we still have a match from the Stellar division later to do this week as well, Atlas versus Hellkites. So lots of teams. A lot of the teams played earlier tonight. Hopefully, we'll be getting those VODs, and we'll get going, and we can get all of these matches in before we get to those championship rounds. Anything you want to see from the other divisions?
So, I have to say, I don't follow the other divisions too much. I talk to a lot of the players, but I haven't seen any of the games.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, I really just want to see them doing their best. And what that means is I don't want them to compromise to something because it's meta. If their best is to pick Heimerdinger top, then I want to see that. I don't want to see anybody picking something they think it's fundamentally better, like functionally. I want everybody to pick the thing that gives them the best chance of winning.
That's what I like to hear. So, do you have anything else you want to say, George, before we get out of here? Do you want to promote something?
I mean, if you want to hear me rag on Badger for losing, this week, but
Oh, I definitely want to hear about this. I want to hear him bitch about how he picks Caitlyn and how Caitlyn's so great, but she sucks at the same time.
that should be going live this Thursday around 9ish. We'll keep you updated, and I'll think on Slack when that happens. But long story short, that's about it for me.
So, Badger and George P. Prudell bickering at each other later this week, Thursday.
I'm not sure. Froz might be there too.
Froz might be there as well. We may actually have 4 wards on the 4 Ward podcast.
Oh, there's going to be more than that.
Oh.
I didn't say anything.
Oh. Sneak preview only heard here at the Vantage Cast, guys. So, thank you everyone for watching, paying attention, and trying to help me correct my terrible Twitch setup, apparently. And it worked for 2 whole months. Don't know why I didn't want to work today, but we got it going in the end. The VODs will be going up later tonight. Still, I will be doing the whole match of the second one in one, and I will try to figure something out on how to do the first match. It may just be game 1 going up on stream as a video, because game 2 got shut down about 3 or 4 times. So thank you, George, for joining me tonight, and thank you everyone once again for watching, and stay tuned for more playoffs.
All right. Have a wonderful day.